picking up again our exposition through the Gospel of Luke, which I've attempted to do in some ways almost chapter by chapter. Sometimes we take half chapters, but the goal is to try to understand the narrative of Luke. So how events and teachings and scenes fit together. One of the challenges of that is that oftentimes we have to crank through information pretty quickly. We don't get to deal with all of the little sidebar things and some of the details. So along the way, I've been recording a weekly video or podcast, however you want to think of it. It's just additional teaching over the section of Luke that I've been in, except I haven't done that for the last 3 or 4 weeks because, it's Christmas time and I like to hang out with my family and eat cookies. And so things that are extra need to go during that season. But I'm going to be back at it this week. Lord willing, I'll record something tomorrow. And I encourage you, I hope that's helpful to you. I've heard from people that it is. This one may be particularly helpful as Luke chapter 16 has some really difficult passages. When I'm reading commentaries on the Gospel of Luke and they say, this might be the most difficult verse in Luke to interpret, it at least makes me feel better. When somebody who spends their life studying something can say, yeah, I know, it's hard. So particularly verses 8 and 9 are very difficult to understand and are highly debated. And I'm going to cover them in like 3 sentences today, which is basically me saying, here's what I think it means. And so, but I recognize some of you might say, well, hang on a second. That's not how I've heard it taught before, or you might disagree, and that's fine. I'm going to get into all of that in my recording. Also, verses 14 through 18, really tough stuff there. But Lord willing, I can provide some extra teaching. And today, really try to focus on the main point of the whole passage. There's really an important thread through the whole of chapter 16 that I think we would get lost in, that we would lose entirely if I